What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Ray's Reviews. I'm your host, Joshua, and I will be reviewing and recapping Stargirl Season 3, Episode 3, entitled The Blackmail. So the episode has not started yet, but I just wanted to get the intro out of the way because I just want to get the intro out of the way for the sake of it. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss another one of my videos. Alright, so it's been a hectic past few minutes, so I'm just going to pretty much tell you what happened in these past two segments, starting with the first one. In the first segment, we see Sylvester just trying to get used to living in Blue Valley and trying to be a quote-unquote normal person. He talks with Yolanda at the diner about Ted Grant, and he says how Ted Grant would have liked Yolanda. And honestly, I think he was kind of being genuine about that. I don't really know, but we'll see what happens with that. Then we see Courtney make food for the rest of the family, but their breakfast gets interrupted by the Crocs as they bring in their healthy food, and they literally throw out everything that Courtney made, which was kind of funny yet kind of sad. Then what else? Then we see Beth and Rick in Rick's car, and they're just talking, and then Beth through the goggles gets an anonymous transfer from that was made from the gambler, and she says that the gambler was blackmailing someone. And then the segment ends with Cindy with the gambler's computer, and it shows her like trying to get through a password. I don't know. I wasn't really fully paying attention to that segment. Then the second segment follows Pat and the mechanic guy giving Sylvester a pep talk about him trying to get a normal job, getting a career, and he doesn't really believe that he'll be able to get a career. And then we see and then we also see back at school, we also see Courtney and the rest of the JSA talk about how the gambler was blackmailing the Crocs. So it's now possible that it's very likely that the Crocs murdered the gambler, and could not be. But Courtney is saying that they need to be 100% certain, because it wouldn't be fair to take them away by just getting this one little clue. And she pretty much tells him to not tell Sylvester, but if you saw the promo, Sylvester will eventually fight the Crocs in this episode. Through what circumstances, I have no idea, but we'll just see what happens. Alright, so the segment just ended, and pretty much in this segment we saw Cameron Menken, who I did not mention in the last episode. He was in the last episode, I just forgot to mention him. He has been kind of struggling with his newfound powers. He's kind of been struggling with it, but we do see that he has a semi-control of it when he used his powers to pop one of Rick's car's tires after getting into a little dispute with him about talking to one of their teachers that Rick respects. So you can definitely tell that Cameron's getting a little bit more control of his powers, but I really like Cameron. I loved him in season 1, and I loved him in season 2. I really hope that he doesn't go down the path of his father. If he does, I would be very heartbroken. I would be very sad about that. So I really hope that he, at the end of the season, turns good and stuff. So then after that, we see Sylvester still trying to figure out what job he can do, that's not Starman. But then Cindy shows up, and she pretty much just tells him that's possible that the Crocs killed the gambler. And Sylvester takes this to heart and pretty much makes the Crocs his next target. And we see Mike. He hears Sylvester, and I'm guessing he heard the conversation between Cindy and Sylvester. So I really hope Mike can hurry up to Courtney and Pat, and just tell them that Sylvester's gonna try to kill the Crocs. And once again, I still do not trust Sylvester. And yeah, I think I said this in last week's video, but I think I said this in last week's video, but this is going to be a running theme throughout this whole series. I do not trust Sylvester at all. I do not trust his intentions. I do not trust his motives. So we'll just see what happens. Alright, the segment just ended, and that fight was so good. The fight between the Crocs and Sylvester was so good. Sylvester's honestly just losing his mind at this point, and I liked how the Crocs were really able to hold their own against Sylvester, even though at times getting their asses whooped. But yeah, the whole segment was really just them fighting. Sylvester is definitely a hit first, ask questions later type of guy, where Courtney is the ask questions first, then attack. And I think that's what makes Courtney such a good. That's what makes her so much better than Starman, is just she's able to she thinks before she attacks. Sylvester just attacks, and that literally just that if Pat didn't show up in the stripe armor, if he didn't show up, I'm very certain Sylvester would have killed the Crocs, and that would have just been so horrible for his character, and would have made me trust him even less. Well, come to think about it, I barely trust him as is. All right, so in this next segment, we see the aftermath, and the Crocs pretty much say that the gambler was blackmailing them for crimes that they didn't commit, with the other JSA members, and a few days before the day that the gambler died, he pretty much paid them back all the money. He pretty much paid them back all the money, and the Crocs were very suspicious as to why he did that. But Crusher, he decided to pull back from killing him because he knew that if he did, it wouldn't end well for them. And Courtney and Pat, Courtney, Pat, and Barbara, they believe the Crocs. But then we see Sylvester walk in, and he and Pat pretty much have an argument, and Sylvester is pretty much telling him that he is the sidekick, and finally, Pat stands up for himself and tells Sylvester, no, he's not the sidekick. He is no longer the sidekick, and he'll never be the sidekick again. He tells Sylvester all the stuff that happened with Courtney's father, and he pretty much tells him that Sylvester needs to become a role model for Courtney and all the other kids, because when the show started, Courtney thought that Sylvester was her father, and it was really something that impacted her when she found out that he wasn't her father. And Sylvester just really reeling in on the fact that he really can't be the man he was before. So then we come back to the JSA meeting where we see Cindy explain why she told Sylvester. She pretty much told Sylvester because she wanted to prove herself. She wanted to prove herself that if Sylvester gave her the seal of approval, then the other JSA members would bring her in with open arms. And Courtney pretty much says that if she does something like that again, she's never going to allow her back on the team. And then we see Courtney and Cam talk for a little bit, and the segment ends there. Alright, so the episode just ended, and we pretty much saw Sylvester go back to the trailer park where the gambler died, and he pretty much got tossed up into the air by who I hopefully wish it wasn't Grundy. We see Pat making a new suit for what can I assume is Sylvester. Sydney's still trying to get through the gamblers. He's trying to get through the gamblers. She's still trying to get through the gamblers' computer. Still have no idea what she's doing. But we get a little tease as to who the villain is. Don't really know who it is, but who knows? We'll see what happens in the next couple episodes. But that was the end of this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was definitely a fun episode. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and you hit the bell icon so you never miss another one of my videos. And like the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Electro J, and I'll see you all. I'm Joshua from Ray's Reviews, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.